Glory to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for being here. We'll start with the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya udhiraye tanashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttam shloke bhaktir bhavatir naishtiki Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shavasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vacharam pangam langyate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurudena taranam paramanandam madhavam Namahum Vishvadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschachade Shatarani. Hare Krishna once again. So I think our agenda today is to continue with group presentation. So I'll hand it over to Ruprabhanath Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, we are almost at the end of this module. We have 4 chapters left, and we will be covering the 3 today, and there will be 1 left for next class. So we will start with group 4 for the chapter 16 summary.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and Mataji's Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Today we are presenting Nectar of Devotion, chapter 6, Spontaneous Devotion further described. The spontaneous love found in the residents of Vrindavana has 2 divisions. One is Kamarupa and other is Kama Sambandhanurupa. Chapter 15 ended the analysis of Kamarupa and chapter 16 begins with a brief analysis of Sambandharupa. Sambandharupa is a relationship. Kamarupa is sensual attraction, is the intense attachment to serve in the mood of a lover. Sambandharupa is the intense attachment to service in the mood of a parent, friend or servant. In that bhakti inspired by great absorption arising from identifying oneself as the parent, friend or servant of Krishna. This refers to the bhakti of the Vrajavasis in relationship other than conjugal love. They also have a predominance of intense affection for Krishna caused by lack of awareness of Krishna as God. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.288. Gopis are prime example of Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti. The other Vrajavasis are the chief examples of Sambandharupa Ragatmika Bhakti. For example, Nanda Maharaja and Yashoda. Ragatmika Bhakti is at level of Prema. Since Kamarupa Bhakti and Sambandharupa Bhakti exist only on the level of Prema and remain within the Nitya Siddhas, it is not discussed in the section thoroughly. Prema Bhakti will be discussed later by Srila Rupa Goswami in the chapter 19th of Nectar of Devotion. The primary subject of chapters 15 and 16, however, is the practice of spontaneous devotion, Raganuga Sadhana, not the perfection of spontaneous devotion, Ragatmika Prema. Raganuga Bhakti refers to the spontaneous devotional service at the follows in the footsteps of Ragatmaka Bhaktas. The two types of Raganuga Bhakti, Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga. Kamanuga is a strive for the mood of Kamarupa Ragatmikas, for example, gopis and queens of Dwaraka. Sambandhanuga is a strive for the mood of Sambandha Rupa Ragatmikas, for example, Vrajavas in parental or friendly love. What is the basic qualification? The basic qualification for Raganuga Bhakti is simply a natural, spontaneous desire to serve Krishna in a specific relationship. A desire that can be evoked by hearing about the eternal residents of Vrindavana. There is a gradual development of the ambition to become like a particular devotee, and this activity is called Raganuga. रागात्मिकैकनिष्ठाये व्रजवासी जनादयः तेषां भावाप्तये लुब्धो भवेद् अत्राधिकारवान्. It is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.291. The translation is that person who is greedy for attaining a bhava similar to that of the inhabitants of Vraja who are fixed solely in Ragatmika Bhakti is qualified for Raganuga Bhakti. The qualification for Raganuga Bhakti is that a devotee is above the regulative principles, means that they are not independent on scriptural injunction for their inspiration to serve and surrender. Their inspiration comes from their own spontaneous affection. This does not mean that a Raganuga Bhakti does not follow the regulative principles. It means that their motivation is love, not just obligation. Those qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti are dependent on the rules of scriptural and favorable use of logic until the appearance of Bhava Bhakti. Raganuga develops the greedy by studying the scriptures. It is also necessary to study the scriptures to understand the proper sadhana for Raganuga Bhakti. We follow the regulative principles even after the development of spontaneous love for Krishna. What is the how to achieve the qualification? Greedy is very important, but it is not cheap or easy to come. Lobha refers to the state where one's soul and overwhelming desire to please Krishna in a particular way. The greed usually does not awaken until the devotee achieves steadiness at the completion of Anartha Nivrutti. After having thoroughly heard Srimad Bhagavatam and being freed from all unwanted desires, generally it is only then that one possesses the qualification to practice genuine Raganuga Bhakti. Freedom from anarthas comes at the stage of Nishta. However, it is the true that slight anarthas remain until we attain prema. How to practice Raganuga Bhakti? Live always in Vraja physically or mentally while remembering the Vrindavana form of Krishna, remembering his dear associates who have inclination for service like one's own, absorbing one's if in hearing topics related to them. One who desires to serve in conjugal affection may meditate on the mood and service of the specific gopi for Kishore Krishna. One who desires to serve with parental affection may meditate on Mother Yashoda for Kumar Krishna. In Bhakti Rasamrita 295, Seva Sadhaka Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi Tadbhavalipsuna Karya Vrajalokanu One should serve Krishna externally in one's Sadhaka Rupa and internally in one's Siddha Rupa with a desire for particular bhava following the particular Vrajavasi. Residents of Vraja simultaneously exist in two manifestations, sadhakas and siddhas. Example is Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is sadhaka in his Gaura Leela and Rupa Manjari is siddha in his Krishna Leela. Service in sadhaka rupa, following the activities eternally with body. For example, one who aspires the mood and service of Srila Rupa Goswami would follow the footsteps of his sadhana. Service in Siddha Rupa follow the activity internally or mentally. Example is one who aspires the mood and service of Srila Rupa Goswami would eternally meditate on the activities of Sheela Rupamanjari. One should accept the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti like hearing and chanting and surrendering to the Guru who are favorable to one's cultivation of Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti are also supposed to follow the limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti but with discretion. For example, Raganuga Bhakti does not abandon regular hearing and chanting but focuses on hearing and chanting topics that specifically nourishes his serving mood. The example 2 is worshipping the deity in parental mood. What is Siddha Pranali? Siddha Pranali, a fallacious interpretation. Prakata Sahajiyas follow this Raganuga Bhakti process by misinterpreting the verse 295 of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. They deviate quickly. The first deviation Prabhupada mentioned here prematurely imagine one's eternally perfect spiritual form, Siddharupa. Srila Prabhupada says they imagine that they have become associates of the Lord simply by thinking of themselves like that. However, our Siddharupa gradually develops when our heart is purified. Second deviation is Prakrata Sahajiyas misinterpret the word Vrajaloka to be for the residents of Vrindavana exclusively as Siddha Rupa and not Siddha Sadhaka Rupa. Like men dressed in sari, jewelry, etc., making a show of imitating the behavior of gopis without any internal purification. There are two categories of Raganuga Bhakti, Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga. Kamanuga is a devotional practice that strives for the mood of the Kamarupa Ragatmikas, the gopis of Vrindavana or the queens of Dwaraka. Sambandhanuga is a devotional practice that strives for the mood of the Sambandharupa Ragatmikas, the devotee of Vrindavana in parental, friendly or servile love. The nectar of devotion begins the describe Kamanuga Sadhana Bhakti on page 127 at the subheading conjugal love. There are two divisions Kamanuga. Sambhoga Icchamayi, striving to serve Krishna as do those who directly meet his in conjugal love, and Tad Bhava Icchatmika, striving not to directly meet with Krishna but to assist the supreme heroine Srimati Radharani and thus directly experience her loving mood through service and appreciation. Qualification for the Kamanuga Bhakti. Develop the desire for the bhava of the gopis after seeing the sweetness in the deity form of Krishna, and the gopis are after hearing about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Kamanuga Bhakti is mainly developed by worshipping deities of Radha Krishna and hearing Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. In the Padma Purana, it is said that even men can attain this bhakti. Example given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, previously all the sages living in Dandakaranya forest who after seeing Lord Ramachandra desired enjoyment with his form, attaining forms of women and appeared in Gokula. Attaining the Lord by that Kama, they became liberated from the ocean of the material world. Although loving Krishna in conjugal mood entails feminine sentiments on behalf of the devotee, but it is not restricted only to females. There are two modes in conjugal love, Parakiya, unwedded, and Swakiya, wedded. Parakiya is practiced by those who follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavana. One who perfects this sentiment will be elevated to Goloka Vrindavana to associate with the gopis and enjoy loving affairs with Krishna there. Swakiya is practiced by those who follow in the footsteps of Krishna's wedded wives in Dwaraka. One who perfects this sentiment will be elevated to Dwaraka, where the devotees becomes a queen of the Lord. The reference from Mahakurma Purana in an example of this. Srila Prabhupada explains in the development of becoming either the father or friend or Lord, friend of Lord, there are two varieties. One method is that one may try to become the father of the Lord directly, and the other is that one may follow Nanda Maharaja and cherish the ideal of being Krishna's father. The first type aspires for the direct parenthood or friendship with Krishna. The second type aspires for the service and appreciation of Krishna's parents and friends. In this, we can make offense because the thinking oneself to be Nanda or Subala is offensive, but following Nanda or Subala and cherishing the ideal of being Krishna's father or friend is desirable. Example of Sambandhanuga Sadhana Bhakti. In the Skanda Purana, there is a story of an old man residing in Hastinapura who desired Krishna as his beloved son. The old man was instructed by Narada to follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaja, and thus he achieved success. Srila Prabhupada says that there is a statement in the Narayana Vyuha Stava prayers that persons who are always engaged in thinking of the Lord as their husband, friend, father, or well-wisher are always worshipable by everyone. This spontaneous love for Krishna can be developed only by the special mercy of Krishna or his pure devotees. This process of devotional service is sometimes called Pushtimarga. The Vallabha Sampradaya, which belongs to the Vishnu Swami sect of Vaishnava religion, worships Krishna in the form of Balagopala. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please correct me if I make anything wrong, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. Very, very nice organization of material and excellent presentation, both in terms of audio and visual. Explained. So from here onwards, the NoD becomes a little bit esoteric. It's difficult to grasp and requires a fair amount of understanding to be able to digest and present it. So thank you so much for doing it. Hare Krishna.
Over to next group.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, then Pranam. Hare Krishna to all Matajis also. So we are group 5 and our topic today is ecstatic love, chapter 17. So Bhava Bhakti, which is translated as devotional service in ecstatic love. So till the previous chapter 16, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti were discussed, and this chapter describes the process of rising to the platform of Bhava Bhakti, which is ecstatic love for Krishna. So by the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated to the transcendental stage, beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary systems, and there is no possibility of it being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun, from his pure heart there is a diffusion of ecstatic love, which is more glorious than the sunshine. And only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttam Adhikari, perfect devotion. And such a devotee has no agitation from the material affections and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna. So, although the symptoms, all the symptoms are not discussed here, but some of the symptoms are discussed of bhava. So, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with the instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy in spontaneous love. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. So within the stage of regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. The effective portion of devotional service is called bhava or ecstasy. That means that is the effect of the of carrying out devotional service. Uh, the ultimate effect is bhava or ecstasy. So in this connection, there is a statement in the tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead. And in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not only are these symptoms manifest, uh, these are not always manifest, but occasionally these are manifest. For example, when Ambrish Maharaj was put into difficulty by Durvasa Muni, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus there were some changes in his body, and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of the tears. And similar symptoms were also visible a lot of times in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Initially, when he saw Lord Jagannath at Puri, uh, after the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of this ecstasy is called samadhi. This stage of appreciation becomes a cause of future exchange of loving affairs with Krishna. So we all know the story of Durvasa Muni and Ambrish Maharaj, that how Ambrish Maharaj had committed a very small error, we can say, that on the day after the Ekadashi, on the Dwadashi day, when Durvasa Muni came to see him, then and he went to bathe in the Yamuna, then to break the fast at the proper time, Ambrish Maharaj just took a few drops of water, and by his mystic potency, Durvasa Muni could know that he has done, and so he has broken his fast before feeding him. So he immediately he made a demon appear out of nowhere, and when Ambrish Maharaj was thinking about the Lord, then there were symptoms of ecstasy in his body, and the Lord, of course, came to protect him. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we know that when for the first time he saw Lord Jagannath in Puri, he fainted, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his home, and then he uh, realized that this is not feigning, this is real bhava that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. And also, as all of us know, some of the symptoms that have been told that are there in the Sixtastaka words of that have been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Nainam Kala Dashudharaya Vadanam Katadar Udhaya Gira Polikar Nichitam Babu Kada Namagrahni Bhavishyati. So the standing of the hair on the end and the voice crackling, all those symptoms have been given in the Sixtastaka words also. So how can one reach the stage of bhava? So elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One is by constant association with the pure devotees, and the second is the special mercy of Krishna, or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. But the second is rarely achieved. So the first one is easier to attain, the second one is rarely achieved. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees, so that there will be certainty in raising oneself to that ecstatic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna, and although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes it is found that a person who has never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree may from some great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principles of devotional service, and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or for his devotees' favor. So some of the examples that have been given of elevation to bhava, the first one is, as we had seen the two categories. So first one is by constant association with pure devotees, like in the case of Narada, by the special mercy of Krishna. Then the second is the by the special mercy of Krishna, or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. So in the case of mercy of Krishna, there are three categories. So one is by speaking, where Krishna speaks to Narada, then by glancing, where the inhabitants of the Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna and they were elevated to bhava, and by good wishes, when Narada is speaking to Vyasa regarding Sukadev Goswami. And the second category under this, the second subcategory under this category is mercy of pure devotee, like Prahlad by the mercy of Narad, and Mrigari the hunter by the mercy of Narad. So we'll see these in more detail. Association of pure devotees. So an example of rising to the stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life story of Narad, which is described to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. So he was engaged in the service of great devotees, and he used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear these pastimes and songs of Krishna, from the mouths of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love is prior to the pure love of Krishna, which is Krishna Prema. Because in the next verse, Narada confirms that by the gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narad continues to say in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse 28 of the Bhagavatam, first I passed my days in the association of the great sages during the rainy autumn season. Every morning and evening, I heard them while they were singing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and thus my heart gradually became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of the modes of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I became firmly fixed in devotional service to the Lord. So this is Narad Muni. He was just 5 years old, and during the season of Chaturmas, when the sages had come to his house, he served them personally, and also uh, after permission, he had remnants from them. And when he used to hear the Krishna Katha, because his heart had become purified, all the anarthas were gone, so he was elevated to the stage of Bhava, and finally to Krishna Prema. Uh, the next, uh, the association of pure devotees. These are practical. These are practical examples of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged morning and evening in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic pure love for Krishna. This statement is also confirmed in the third canto, 25th chapter, verse 25 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, my dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the hearts of the audience. So, what is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in the Padma Puran, there is a story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. Then the next category is the special mercy of Krishna or his devotees. So sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of the devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or of his devotee. And this apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna, again, it can be divided into three groups as discussed earlier. One is simply by speaking, then simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. So, by speaking, in the Naradiya Puran, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. So the Lord just spoke to Narad, and Narad developed by this causeless mercy of Krishna, he developed ecstatic love. Then by glancing, in the Skanda Puran, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love towards Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when the inhabitants of Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. Then by good wishes. As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shukra Samhita where Narada tells Srila Vasudev, you have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead. And I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births. So just by the good wishes of Narada, Srila Sukadev Goswami is a pure devotee. Although, so he was born when he came out of his mother's womb at the age of 16 years. He did not have to undergo any purificatory processes, the samskaras, and he was a pure devotee by birth. Then examples of causeless mercy of Krishna's devotees is Prahlad Maharaj. As for ecstatic love of Krishna, There is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narad addresses King Yudhishthir. My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlad. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe. This means that Narad himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlad's ecstatic love was by the grace of the Lord. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narad. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narad about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narad was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of these instructions. Because Narad, an authorized devotee and a great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of a high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narad. So we all know that the mother of Prahlad Kayadhu, she was in the company of Narad Muni when Hiranyakashipu had gone for his tapasya in the Mandrachal hill. So he was narrating the Srimad, he was instructing Kayadhu, and Prahlad was hearing, he was in the womb of Kayadhu, and he was hearing all the instructions. And Narad Muni had said to Indra when at that time that this child will, even if you try to kill him, he will not be killed. So just to keep the words of Narad Muni, the Lord always protected him. So it is by the mercy of the pure devotee like Narada that Prahlad Maharaj became such an elevated pure devotee. Then another example of the causeless mercy of Krishna's devotee is Megari. So there is a statement in the Skand Puran wherein Parvat Muni tells Narad, my dear Narad, of all the saintly persons you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes the low-born hunter has also become a great elevated devotee of the Lord. So we all know that Mrigari, he used to kill the animals, half kill the animals, and he used to leave them writhing in pain. So when Narad Muni saw this, he told him to at least either kill them fully or so that he does not incur sins and does not have to suffer in the future. However, the heart of Mrigari changed, and he asked for the mercy of Narad Muni, who then just told him to give up everything and just sit and circumambulate Tulsi Maharani and spend his life like that. And so here we can see that the hunter who used to kill animals in such half kill them and he used to derive pleasure out of that, he now is even trying to not step on the ants that are there in his way when he's trying to offer his obeisances unto Narad Muni and Parvat Muni. So that is the change of heart that he had because of the mercy of Krishna's devotee, that is Narad Muni. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very well summarized. Okay, let's go to the third one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shardiya Mataji is presenting this. I'm just sharing. Mataji, Shardiya Mataji.
Sorry, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Sorry, I thought we are the group last one to go. Yeah, here I am. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So the topic of our presentation is chapter 18, Character of One in Ecstatic Love. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is embodiment of ecstatic love of Krishna, instructed Srila Rupa Goswami on this topic and empowered him to distribute these teachings to others. And by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, we have nectar of devotion. So, in the beginning of the Nectar of Devotion, we learned about the characteristics of pure devotional service, and today we will learn about the character of one who in ecstatic love. These qualities are exhibited by a devotee in a bhava and a prema stages of bhakti. So, these characteristics are as follows. The pure devotee of the Lord, he is always anxious to utilize his time in the devotional services of the Lord. He does not like to be idle and wants to serve the Lord 24 hours a day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. He remains tolerant and patient even amid disturbances. He is always detached from all material attractions and is completely indifferent to the objects of sense gratification. He does not long for any material respect in return to his activities. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. He is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed. For example, Mathura, Vrindavan, and Dwarka. Now, going deeper into each quality, first is utilization of time. So, a pure devotee of the Lord who has developed the ecstatic love for Krishna engages his words in always chanting the names of the Lord, reciting the prayers to the Lord, and his mind in constant remembrance of the Lord, meditating on his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And by engaging his body in offering obeisances, by bowing down before the Lord, cooking bhoga for the Lord, dressing the Lord, cleaning the temple of the Lord, and serving the devotees of the Lord. During these aesthetic activities, he sometimes sheds the tear of separation to the Lord. Um, s- so uh, now now the question is, why utilization of time? Why does it come first? So I was feeling that it is proper utilization of time is very important aspect of our lives. Our bhakti depends on the proper utilization of time. The great acharyas teach us this art of time management by their own example. Utilization of time also means following a schedule and maintaining discipline. In the photo here, we see the strict daily schedule of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, which begins at 4:30 in the morning to 7:30, chanting japa. Then 4:30 to 7 chanting japa, 7 to 7:30 correspondence, and so for it's a long schedule, but it shows how a pure devotee utilizes every minute of his time in the service of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada also gave us instructions on how to carry out our devotional activities throughout the day by making our homes into the temple of the Lord and carrying out activities of daily living for the pleasure of the Lord. Next is perseverance. It means that when a person is undisturbed, even in the presence of various causes of disturbance, he is called reserved or perseverant. This is the quality of a pure devotee of the Lord. We see it in the life of little devotee Prahlad, who was put into so many difficulties by his abusive father, but Prahlad remained undisturbed and his mind always absorbed in the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives example of Parikshit Maharaj, who was faced by a curse, but he remained undisturbed and willingly accepted the curse, although he was fully capable of counteracting the curse. This condition of mind is an example of reservation. We also see such perseverance and reservation in the life of Srila Prabhupada when he was faced with times of frustration and in the times of reversals. For aspiring devotees like us, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs us that one should be more tolerant than a tree. In such a state of mind, one can easily chant the holy name of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one has to learn to tolerate in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, cold and warm. By tolerating such dualities, one becomes free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. Next, number 3 is detachment. Srila Prabhupada explains that the senses are always desiring sense enjoyment, but when a devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer attached to material desires. This state of mind is called detachment. He gives example of the character of King Bharata, who willingly gave up his kingdom, his wife, his family. His opulence was so great that even the demigods envied it. Yet he gave it up. He could renounce everything because he was so attracted to the beauty, opulence, reputation, knowledge, strength, and renunciation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Krishna is so attractive that one can give up all desirable things for his sake. Indeed, even liberation is considered insignificant for those whose minds are attached to the loving service of the Lord. Next, in Sikshashtakam, verse number 4, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, O Radha Krishna, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women or any number of followers. I only want your devotional service birth after birth. So, as devotees, we should understand that everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore, we should use everything in the service of Krishna and should respect everything as a sacred property and energy of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada used the latest technology to spread Krishna conscious movement throughout the world. In this way, we can easily develop detachment. Next quality is pridelessness. Srila Prabhupada explains that when a devotee, in spite of possessing all the good qualities of no, he's not proud of himself. This is called pridelessness. In Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagiratha was the emperor of all the other kings, yet he developed such ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging to the homes of his political enemies and untouchables. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. In this way, a devotee of Krishna can accept any position in the service of his master, Krishna. In Sikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs that one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the blade of grass. So, pride is considered to be a weed, unnecessary creeper that grows alongside with the creeper of bhakti. Even a devotee can be proud that I chant 16 rounds, I do so much service, I cook such nice prasadam, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But as devotees, we should be very careful we should very carefully guard our bhakti from the weeds like lobha, puja, and pratishta. We should always cry for the mercy of Krishna and Vaishnavas that we do not become puffed up with pride. In material world, more we grow, the bigger the pride becomes. But in spiritual life, more we grow in bhakti, bigger servant we become. So fifth one is great hope. Great hope means the strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. It is also called Asha Bandhan. Srila Rupa Goswami exemplifies this hopefulness. A pure devotee in ecstatic love has full faith that Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. As a devotee, we should have full faith in Krishna's words. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna assures in so many ways that he delivers his devotees. And there is another nice reminder that I found, which says that if my devotee is not able to remember me at the time of death, because of the great disturbances felt within the body at that time, I shall remember my devotee and take him back to the spiritual world. But we should be mindful that we should always take a position of being a humble servant of the Lord and depending on the mercy of the Lord. Sixth is the eagerness for achieving the desired success. One has to develop intense eagerness for achieving success. The intense eagerness is very nicely explained by Bilva Mangal Thakur in his book Krishna Karnamrita. He says that I'm eagerly waiting to see the boy of Vrindavan to achieve Krishna consciousness perfectly. This ecstatic eagerness or greediness to serve Krishna is the only prize. Simply this ecstatic, intense desire. How I shall get Krishna, then you shall get Krishna. He will take you. Taken from a lecture from Nectar of Devotion in Bombay, December 26, 1972. Next is number 7, attachment to chanting the holy names of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives us example of chanting of Srimati Radharani, who is constantly shedding tears of separation and anxiously chanting the holy names of Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Srila Prabhupada instructs us that with our lips we should be chanting, with our ears we should be hearing, and with our heart we should be crying out to the Lord like a baby does for its mother. 8 is the eagerness to describe Lord's transcendental qualities. A pure devotee in the ecstatic love for Godhead is always eager to glorify the transcendental qualities, forms, pastimes, and beauty of the Lord. My thoughts are going to so many Vaishnav bhajans beautifully composed by our Vaishnav acharyas and saints. Also to the beautiful prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. By reading and reciting these prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam and singing Vaishnav bhajans, we can easily invoke the mercy of the Lord and reawaken the dormant love of Godhead in our hearts. Number 9, attachment for living in the place where Krishna has performed his pastimes. A pure devotee of Lord resides in the district of Mathura or Vrindavan and visits all the places where Krishna's pastimes were performed. While living in the holy dham, a pure devotee feels separation from Krishna. He increases his attraction for Krishna, for remembering Krishna's activities and pastimes. He develops attachment. By doing so, he develops attachment to Krishna. In this way, a pure devotee always feels the transcendental pleasure. Srila Prabhupada explains that this attachment is very confidentially kept by Krishna and is bestowed only upon his pure devotees. Sometimes one may artificially imitate this attachment, pretending that Krishna is talking with him. This imitative attachment can be divided into 2 headings, namely shadow attachment and para or transcendental attachment. If someone, without undergoing the regulative principles of devotional service or without being guided by a bona fide spiritual master, shows such imitative attachment, this is called shadow attachment. However, the attachment to Krishna can be invoked by the association and the service of the pure devotee of the Lord. Last slide. One should, but as devotees, we should be very careful not to imitate the qualities of a pure devotee, but we should wholeheartedly follow the instructions of the pure devotee, serve the pure devotee, and take association of pure devotee. Because कृष्णा से तोमार कृष्ण दैते पारो তোমারা শক্তি আছে আমি তো कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले दैते तब पाछे पाछे Krishna is yours. You are You have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant, running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Very nice presentation, and very, very nicely explained. Also, thank you so much to the group. So that brings us to the end of the third presentation. We have about 10 minutes left. So if you have any discussion, we can do that now. Yes, Chaitanya Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I think it was the first presentation. I think it was more about what is the bhav or what is the consciousness that you have. So is it that I know probably I know the answer also, but I just wanted to confirm. So when a person is in full Krishna consciousness or ragatmika, is the first thing, is it possible for any one of us to be ragatmika? Second thing is, can someone be in the material world but still at a ragatmika stage?
Thank you, Prabhu. Both very good questions. Is it possible for us to be Ragatmika? So maybe I can answer it in a little slightly different. Can we eventually be restored to our perfected position? The answer is unequivocally yes. If not, then there would be no point in all the scriptures and all the gurus and all the instructions. They are all taking us from our current condition stage to the perfected stage. Now, is that perfected stage a Ragatmika stage? That depends on our own relationship with Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada notes that the Ragatmika is essentially found in the residence of Raja. So, are we in our perfected stage, Brajtham Vasis? We don't know. Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, in one of his lectures, he made this point that that those of us who are attracted to the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are attracted because we have certain inklings towards our eternal position as followers of Mahaprabhu, which is Ragatmika. So he makes this point that there is a reason why there are some who are attracted more to different sampradayas, because it resonates with something in them. But then you also wonder, let's not make too much out of it. Let's not say that everybody in ISKCON is going to be back in Raj Dham. But right now our adhikar is that will the process lead us to perfection? To ask that question, and then the answer to that is yes, of course, it will lead us there. Can you repeat your second question briefly, Prabhu, just to remind me?
Would it be possible for one of us to be, or any Ragatmika to be in the material world at the stage of Ragatmika?
Thank you. So we see when Mahaprabhu came, he came with his associates, who were all perfected devotees. Right? So there's a small book which I think it's by Kavi Karnapur, in which he talks about the eternal positions of the associates of Mahaprabhu, right? Some of them are the gopis, some of them are gopas. So yes, the perfected devotees can exist in a perfected stage. Why do they come? For reasons that are explained, to associate with the Lord when He does His pastimes, and for the benefits of the conditioned soul. And if I can combine the two questions to a third conclusion, can one of us, if we reach the condition, they reach the perfected stage, continue to be in this material world? And the answer to that is also yes. Prabhupada would say that perfection is not an event, it's a process. It's not that suddenly one day there's a white light that goes on and there is a big bang and music and you're perfected. Not like that. But gradually our realizations mature to the point of perfection. Prabhupada used to use that phrase for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that he was not of this world. It's another way of saying that while he was in this world, he was not of this world.
I think sorry, Prabhu, if you don't mind. I think that I was getting confused between Nitya Siddhas and Ragatmikas. Are they same or are they different?
Between the Nitya Siddhyas and the Ragatmikas, my understanding is that the Ragatmika Bhav is specific to Vrajvasis, and the Nitya Siddhas are anywhere in the spiritual world. So they could be in Vaikuntha or they could be in Rajtham, right? So not synonymous. And then sadhana siddhas like us can also, by perfection of our sadhana, we can also enter into Rajtham Leela.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Damini Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu. So we learned about the different ragas exhibited by the Ragatmika Bhaktas. So conjugal love, parental and friendship. And even the queens of Dwaraka fall under the Kamanoka Rag, basically conjugal love. My question is, what is the rag exhibited by the sons of Krishna? Where do they fall under?
It is a good question. My understanding is that they have, so if you look at it from the perspective of where they are Dwarkavasis. So the residents of Dwarka have a general mode of Aishwarya. So they look upon Krishna with awe and reverence, including the wives of Krishna. And the sons of Krishna have this mood of serving their father. So it comes in dasya, and in that mood of servitorship.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, in the first presentation, Mataji presented the queens of Dwaraka fall under like Kamanuga Rag, which is wedded, I think, Swakya Bhav, right? So they still don't exhibit Aishwarya Bhav, if my understanding is right.
They do with Aishwarya Bhav. So there is a lot of formality in the relationship between Krishna's wives and Krishna and Dwarka, right? So in the Bhagavatam, there is a pastime when Krishna began to joke with Rukmani, and she fainted because she was not used to that mood of frank joking. And in Vrindavan, there is that mood that is very prominent. More than joking, there's a lot of insults that go on. The gopis insult Krishna, Krishna insults the gopis. So there, the mood is, there is no tinge of opulence, or appreciation of Krishna's opulence. Not that they're not aware of Krishna's position, but it does not bother them. But in Dwarka, the mood is generally one of Aishwarya. It is Madhurya, it is conjugal, but more so in the mood of awe and reverence. And the other, which is a sub flavor that you're talking about, that in Vrindavan, the mood is Parakriya, which is outside of non-wedded.
Right.
And in Dwarka, it is Swakiya, which is within the institution of marriage. That's the secondary mood there.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Nalini Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Um, Sorry, Prabhuji. The first question that Prabhuji asked, maybe I misunderstood or I didn't understand correctly, Prabhuji. Like, so the Ragatmika Bhaktas means like the Vrindavan Vasis in Siddha Rupa, right, Prabhuji? And Prabhuji's question was like, in this material world, can anyone be Ragatmika Bhaktas? So, so is it possible, Prabhuji? I understood, like you said, yes, I think you said, Prabhuji, but did I understand correctly or not, Prabhuji? Because whoever is following the Ragatmika Bhaktas, they are Raganuga Bhaktas, right, Prabhuji? They are following in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas.
So, Ragatmika are those who have perfected their practice. Right? So, Ragatmika are the perfected devotees, which includes, as Prabhu was saying, which includes the eternal associates of Krishna. So, who are Ragatmika Bhaktas? Like Yashoda, Nand Baba, Lalita, Vishakha. And so they are fully perfected in their service to Krishna. So the word Atmika means self, and Raga means colored. So their self is completely colored by their love to Krishna. Raganuga are those who are following the footsteps of Ragatmika. So the Raganugas are sadhakas, Ragatmikas are siddhas. Right? So when a person has perfected their earlier stages of sadhana bhakti, then they reach the stage of Ragunag, where they're performing bhakti still by rules and regulations, but driven by a sense of enjoyment. So earlier stages of sadhana is Vaidhi bhakti, where the persons are compelled to follow the process of bhakti because of rules and regulations. People like us. So we do not have a spontaneous love for Krishna or a spontaneous attraction for bhakti, yet we have conviction that we need to follow it. So we follow it as given to us by the scriptures and by the Guru. At some stage, when this becomes spontaneous, that we are still following the rules and regulations, but now we enjoy. Right? So earlier on, it is because we are told to do it. Later on, we want to follow the rules and regulations. Then at that stage, the persons, they become qualified to follow in the footsteps of the Ragatmika Bhaktas. Right? So like it was mentioned that they will meditate on a particular perfected soul, the service of that soul. Sometimes they will follow that service in a particular mood, right? So that is Ragunag. It is still at the stage of sadhana. And I think your original clarification was that can Ragatmikas be present in the material world? And my answer was yes, because we know anecdotally that perfected souls, for various reasons, do descend into the material world to assist the Lord in his pastimes or to preach to the conditioned souls. So yes, they can be present in the material world.
Like our acharyas, Prabhuji, like until our Guru Maharajas, can we think like that? They are at the Ragatmika stage.
There is no harm in thinking in thinking like that. At a present stage, our adhikar is Vaidhi Bhakti. Right, so that's our main meditation. That what is it that we have been asked to do by Guru Maharaj, by Prabhupada, by the scriptures? That should be our 99.99% meditation, and that is what will take us to the next stage. Glorifying a Guru Maharaj, considering him to be a perfected devotee, or considering Srila Prabhupada to be a perfected devotee, there's no harm in that. But we should not try to become Raghunags thinking that my Guru Maharaj is a Ragatmika, so I will imitate whatever he does, and then I will become a Raghunag. That is not going to take us to a useful path. I mean, our Guru Maharajas themselves will forbid us from doing that. So our primary meditation should be on our current state, which is sadhakas, specifically sadhana Vaidhi bhaktas, and meditate on that.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Last questions, Jyoti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have a quick, I need clarification. Chaitanya Prabhuji asked whether Nitya Siddhas were the Ragatmika devotees. And it's said in Bhagavatam that the Krishna's associates from Gokul, from Golok Vrindavan, were the ones who took birth here to do the Leelas with him. So, in effect, they were Nitya Siddhas, right?
So your question is that when Krishna descended 5,000 years ago to perform his Leelas, were his associates Nityasiddhas or not? Is that your question?
Were I believe I've read that his associates came down into our universe to do the Leela with him, and the Vrajvasis were really his associates from Golok Vrindavan. And so, in effect, the Ragatmika Bhaktas are really the Nitya Siddhas having taken birth to do the Leelas with Sri Krishna.
I see. I understand your question. Yes, you're mostly right. If you look at the description of the gopis in the rasa dance, there are varieties of gopis there. So that gives us a bit of understanding. It answers the question that you've asked. There were some gopis who were the eternal associates of Krishna. So these are the Nitya Siddhas in the spiritual world, and they came down from there. There were some gopis who were sadhana siddhas, who did not come down from the spiritual world, who were perfecting their bhakti through the process of sadhana, and had reached the perfection where they were now able to associate with Krishna. And it is mentioned that that the devotees, before they reach perfection, they go through this stage of what we would call on-the-job training. So the gopis, they were sadhana siddhas, but they have still not reached the stage. So they get to participate in a Leela of Krishna under the training of those who are eternally perfected. The general answer is that not just Nitya Siddhas, but Sadhana Siddhas also have the right to become Ragatmikas. Right? Right? It's that mood that, as I mentioned, it's the mood of those who are followers of Mahaprabhu. It's the mood of those who follow a particular conception there, right? The difference is that the Nitya Siddhas never fell down, and the Sadhana Siddhas fell down at some point of time, and then by the mercy of a devotee, they once again regained their position. Okay.
Prabhuji, I have one other quick question. I'm so sorry. Hanumanji, I know we are talking about Krishna's Leelas, but Ram Bhagwanji's Leela, where does Hanumanji fall under? Is he because he had natural attraction to Sri Ram even before he met him, he always meditated upon him. So what category does he fall into?
So Lord Hanuman falls in the category of being a jiva, but an eternal associate of Lord Ram, a perfected devotee. He falls in that category.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Rup Raghunath Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Not a question on the class, Prabhuji, but just wanted to get your inputs on the agenda for the next class. So now we have only one chapter left, which will cover 15 minutes next week. What do you propose for the remaining time? Should it be a Q&A, or do you plan to any presentation? Any suggestions, Prabhuji?
I'm not planning to do any presentation unless there is the desire from the devotees for something to be presented. But we have gone through all the chapters. We went through the summation also. I was hoping to keep it for Q&A related to the material of the course. Any question with respect to the tests, we may not use the entire hour. That's my thought.
Sounds good, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
And we will keep the following class as a break for devotees to prepare for the exam, and then
Yes, that's the desire. But how many weeks of break is needed? We can discuss that next.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Next week. I know NoD is a little difficult, so we're cognizant of that. Yeah. Anchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ankoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Sai Gaur Premanande. Hari.
Hari.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.